Welcome everyone. Today we are looking at one of the most popular self-help books of the last 10 years. The book is called Atomic Habits, Tiny Changes, Remarkable Results, written by James Clear. This book has sold over 15 million copies around the world. It has been translated into more than 50 languages. But why has it become so popular? Because it answers a question that almost everyone has asked themselves at some point. Why is it so hard to change? Before we get into the key ideas, let us learn a little about the man who wrote this book. James Clear grew up in a small town in Ohio, in the United States. He was a baseball player in high school and had big dreams of playing at university level. Then, in his junior year of high school, something terrible happened. A classmate accidentally hit him in the face with a baseball bat. The injury was extremely serious. James suffered a broken nose, multiple skull fractures, and 2 broken eye sockets. He was airlifted to hospital and placed in intensive care. Doctors were not sure he would fully recover. He had to relearn basic functions. His baseball career seemed finished before it had really started. But James did not give up. He slowly rebuilt his health, his fitness, and his focus. He went on to play baseball at Denison University. He was not a superstar, but he was named to the academic All-America team. He achieved this not through sudden bursts of talent, but through small, consistent daily improvements. This personal experience became the foundation of everything he later wrote about habits. James Clear did not discover the power of small changes in a library. He lived it. He started writing about habits and personal development on his website in 2012. His articles became very popular. Millions of people subscribed to his newsletter. And in 2018, he published Atomic Habits, turning his ideas into a complete system that anyone can use. So what problem does this book actually solve? Most people believe that big results require big actions. We think that to lose weight, we need a dramatic new diet. To become successful, we need a life-changing decision. To build better habits, we need enormous willpower and motivation. James Clear says this thinking is completely wrong. And this wrong belief is exactly why so many people fail to change. The real problem, he argues, is that we focus on goals instead of systems. We focus on what we want to achieve instead of how we actually live each day. And that is where Atomic Habits comes in. The word atomic has 2 meanings here. An atom is something very small. But atoms also contain enormous energy. So atomic habits are tiny habits that carry remarkable power. Now let us look at the key ideas from the book. Key idea number 1, small habits compound over time. James Clear argues that if you improve by just 1% every day, you will be 37 times better by the end of 1 year. 1% sounds like almost nothing. But over time, small improvements add up in a powerful way. This is called the compound effect. He gives a famous example from British cycling. In 2003, the British national cycling team was one of the worst in the world. In 75 years of competition, British cyclists had won only 1 gold medal at the Olympic Games. Professional cycling teams refused to sell their bikes to the British team because they were afraid it would hurt their reputation. Then a man named Dave Brailsford became the new performance director. His strategy was simple but unusual. He called it the aggregation of marginal gains. This means finding a 1% improvement in everything you do. His team redesigned the bicycle seats to make them more comfortable. They tested different types of massage gel to help muscles recover faster. They painted the inside of the team truck white so they could see dust that might damage the bikes. They even brought their own pillows and mattresses to hotels so the riders could sleep better. None of these changes was dramatic on its own. But together, they transformed the team. Within 5 years, British cyclists won 60% of all gold medals at the 2008 Beijing Olympics. They then dominated the 2012 London Olympics as well. James Clear uses this story to show that we do not need to find one big solution. We need to find many small improvements. The results will surprise us. Key idea number 2, your identity shapes your habits. This is perhaps the most powerful idea in the entire book. James Clear says that most people try to change their habits by focusing on outcomes. They say, I want to lose 10 kilograms. Or, I want to write a book. Or, I want to save more money. But he argues that the most effective way to change is to focus on identity. Instead of asking what you want to achieve, ask who you want to become. He gives a simple but brilliant example. Imagine 2 people trying to stop smoking. Someone offers both of them a cigarette. The first person says, "No thank you, I am trying to quit." The second person says, "No thank you, I am not a smoker." Do you see the difference? The first person still sees themselves as a smoker who is fighting against their nature. The second person has changed how they see themselves. And that identity change makes the habit much easier to maintain. James Clear argues that every action you take is a vote for the type of person you want to become. When you go to the gym, you vote for the identity of someone who is healthy. When you read for 10 minutes before bed, you vote for the identity of someone who loves learning. Small habits are not just about results. They are about proving to yourself who you are. Key idea number 3, the 4 laws of behavior change. James Clear builds his entire system around what he calls the 4 laws of behavior change. These laws explain how habits are formed and how we can use that knowledge to build good habits and break bad ones. The first law is, make it obvious. Habits are triggered by cues in our environment. If you want to build a habit of drinking more water, put a glass of water on your desk where you can always see it. If you want to read more, place your book on your pillow every morning so you see it at night. The second law is, make it attractive. We are more likely to repeat behaviors that feel rewarding. James Clear talks about a technique called temptation bundling. This means linking a habit you need to do with something you enjoy. For example, only allow yourself to listen to your favorite podcast while you are exercising. The thing you enjoy makes the habit more attractive. The third law is, make it easy. James Clear says that the most common mistake people make when building habits is trying to do too much too soon. He suggests a rule called the 2-minute rule. When you start a new habit, it should take less than 2 minutes to do. Want to start running? Your habit is simply to put on your running shoes. Want to start meditating? Your habit is to sit down and take 3 deep breaths. The goal is to make starting so easy that you cannot say no. Once you start, you will usually continue. The fourth law is, make it satisfying. Our brains are wired to repeat behaviors that feel good immediately. This is why bad habits are so easy to form. Eating junk food feels good right now. The negative consequences come much later. James Clear suggests creating immediate rewards for good habits. Track your habits with a simple calendar. Put a big X on every day you complete your habit. Do not break the chain. But here is what almost no one talks about when they discuss this book. James Clear also gives us 4 laws for breaking bad habits. They are simply the opposite of the 4 laws above. Make it invisible. Make it unattractive. Make it difficult. Make it unsatisfying. For example, if you want to stop spending too much time on your phone, delete the social media apps from your home screen. Make them harder to find. If you want to stop eating unhealthy snacks, do not keep them in your house. If you have to go to the shop to buy them, the extra effort will often stop you. This is a crucial insight. We often think that bad habits are a problem of willpower. But James Clear argues that willpower is not reliable. Instead, design your environment so that good habits are easy and bad habits are hard. You do not need to be a stronger person. You need to build a smarter environment. Key idea number 4, the plateau of latent potential. This idea explains why so many people give up on their habits before they see results. James Clear uses a beautiful image to explain this. He asks us to imagine an ice cube sitting on a table in a cold room. The temperature in the room is -5 degrees Celsius. You slowly begin to heat the room. The temperature rises to -4 degrees. Then -3. Then -2. Then -1. The ice cube looks exactly the same. Nothing seems to be happening. Then the temperature reaches 0 degrees. And suddenly, the ice cube begins to melt. Was all that previous heating wasted? Of course not. Every degree of temperature change was necessary. The results were just not visible yet. James Clear says this is exactly what happens with habits. When we start going to the gym, we do not see results in the first week. Or the second week. Or even the first month. We feel like nothing is working. So we stop. But the work was not wasted. It was building potential beneath the surface. He calls this the plateau of latent potential. The results are coming. We just have to push through the period where we cannot see them yet. This is why he says that goals are not the most important thing. If you only focus on the goal, you will give up when you do not see progress quickly. But if you focus on the system, on showing up every day and doing the small actions, you will eventually break through the plateau and see remarkable results. So what are the practical takeaways from this book? What can you actually do today? Actionable step number 1, use habit stacking. James Clear describes a technique where you link a new habit to an existing one. The formula is simple. After I do this current habit, I will do this new habit. For example, after I pour my morning coffee, I will write in my journal for 2 minutes. After I sit down at my desk, I will read 1 page of a book. You are using the existing habit as a trigger for the new one. This makes it much easier to remember and to start. Actionable step number 2, design your environment for success. Walk through your home or workspace and ask yourself one question. Does this environment make my good habits easy and my bad habits hard? Move the fruit bowl to the center of the kitchen table. Put your book next to your bed. Delete the apps that waste your time. Charge your phone in a different room at night. You do not need more willpower. You need a better environment. Actionable step number 3, focus on identity, not outcomes. The next time you want to build a new habit, start by asking who you want to become. Write it down. Say it out loud. I am someone who takes care of their health. I am someone who reads every day. I am someone who manages money carefully. Then look for small ways to cast votes for that identity every single day. The habits will follow naturally. James Clear ends his book with a thought that is both simple and deeply motivating. He writes that success is not a goal to reach. It is a system to live. The goal was never to run a marathon. The goal was to become a runner. The goal was never to write a book. The goal was to become a writer. When you fall in love with the process, the results take care of themselves. So here is the question to take with you today. What is one tiny habit, something that takes less than 2 minutes, that you could start right now that would be a vote for the person you want to become? You do not need to change everything at once. You just need to start somewhere small. Because small is not weak. Small is how everything powerful begins.